The moment Carene Williams walked out of that Dubai auction house with $500 crumpled in her fist, charity money from the husband who had just humiliated her, she had no idea she was about to inherit $847 million. Her business partner had stolen everything. Her marriage was over. She was broken, and secretly pregnant with a baby her billionaire ex-husband would never want. But in 30 days everything would change. Because her grandmother, the woman she hadn't spoken to in 5 years, had just died. And she'd left Carene something that would turn her from a desperate, discarded wife, into the one woman her ex-husband could never have again. This is the story of the greatest comeback you've ever heard. Hey besties, before we dive into this beautiful story, tell me where you're watching from. And don't forget to like and subscribe so I can share more heart-stopping stories with you. Your support means everything. Thank you all. Love you guys. Now let's begin. The auction gavel came down like a gunshot. Lot 247. A Romari beard and collage. Estimated at $40,000. Carene Williams gripped her bidding paddle so tightly her knuckles turned white. This one piece could save her gallery. Could save everything. 40,000, she called out, her voice steady despite the panic clawing at her throat. Across the opulent Dubai auction hall, a man in a Tom Ford suit raised his paddle without even looking up from his phone. 100,000. Carene's stomach dropped. She knew that voice. She'd know it anywhere. Dominic Sinclair. Her husband. No, her almost ex-husband. The divorce papers were already drawn up, sitting in her hotel room like a death sentence. 100,000 to the gentleman in the back, the auctioneer announced. Carene stood up, her vintage dress suddenly feeling too tight. 110,000. Now Dominic looked up. Their eyes met across the room. For a moment, just a flash, something crossed his face. Recognition? Regret? Then it was gone, replaced by cold indifference. 200,000, he said, still holding her gaze. The woman next to him, Sienna Park, touched his arm and whispered something. She was perfect. Porcelain skin, designer everything. Family money that made Dominic's billions look modest. Sienna smiled at Carene. It wasn't kind. 200,000 going once, twice, sold to Mr. Sinclair. Carene felt the room spin. She stumbled toward the bathroom, past curious glances and pitying looks. Everyone knew. Everyone always knew when you were losing. Inside the marble bathroom, she braced herself against the sink. Her phone buzzed. A text from her business partner Eric. 3 words that ended everything. I'm sorry. Gone. Her bank app showed 0. The gallery account showed 0. Eric had taken it all and disappeared. She looked at herself in the mirror. When had she become this person? This desperate, broken version of herself? Her hand moved to her stomach. An unconscious gesture she'd been doing for weeks now. The pregnancy test in her purse felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. She pulled it out with shaking hands and went into a stall. 3 minutes later, 2 pink lines confirmed what she'd known in her gut. She was pregnant. 8 weeks, maybe 9. That last night with Dominic before everything fell apart. Before he'd moved into his hotel penthouse and started appearing in tabloids with Sienna. When Carene walked back out into the corridor, an auction house employee was waiting. Ms. Williams? I'm afraid there's been an issue with your credentials. What kind of issue? Your payment didn't clear. We'll need to revoke your access. Heat flooded her face. There must be a mistake. No mistake. I'm sorry. The woman held out her hand for Carene's auction pass. She handed it over, each movement feeling like underwater slow motion. Down the hall, she could see Dominic and Sienna collecting their new acquisition. The Bearden piece. Her piece. Dominic saw her. He said something to Sienna, then walked over. Up close, he was still devastatingly handsome. Mixed Chinese and black heritage had given him sharp cheekbones, dark eyes that could cut through steel, and presence that commanded every room he entered. Carene. He pulled out his wallet. You look like you could use this. He held out 5 $100 bills. $500. Like she was a charity case. Like their 3 years of marriage meant nothing. Get home safely, he said. Sign the divorce papers. I'll have my lawyer send more for, closure. Closure, she repeated numbly. It's better this way. Clean break. You can start over. He glanced back at Sienna, who was watching them. We both can. Carene took the money. She didn't know why. Pride should have made her refuse, but pride didn't pay for flights home. Dominic, I need to tell you something. Make it quick. We have dinner reservations. The words died in her throat. We're having a baby. But looking at his impatient expression, his expensive watch, the way he'd already mentally moved on, she couldn't. He'd made it clear 1,000 times. No kids. Kids were distractions. Kids got in the way of building empires. Nothing, she whispered. Have a nice dinner. She turned and walked away, those $500 crumpled in her fist, her entire world collapsing with each step. The flight back to New York was a blur. Carene sat in economy, squeezed between a crying baby and a man who snored, and tried to figure out how her life had imploded so completely. 28 years old, bankrupt, pregnant, and soon to be divorced from the only man she'd ever loved. Her phone buzzed. A voicemail from a lawyer. Ms. Williams, this is Richard Foster from Foster & Associates. I'm calling regarding your grandmother's estate. She passed away 3 days ago. The funeral is tomorrow at 2 p.m. There are also matters of inheritance to discuss. Please call me back. Carene stared at the phone. Grandmother Lorraine. They hadn't spoken in 5 years, not since Carene had married Dominic against her wishes. That boy's got ice in his veins, Lorraine had said. Money can't buy warmth, baby girl. She'd been right about everything. The funeral was held in a small church in Harlem. Carene wore the only black dress she owned, the hem fraying slightly. There were maybe 20 people there. Artists mostly. Old folks who spoke in hushed tones about Lorraine's contributions to the community, her legendary collection, her fierce spirit. Carene sat in the front pew numb. A lawyer approached after the service. Richard Foster, tall and silver-haired with kind eyes. Ms. Williams, I'm so sorry for your loss. Your grandmother spoke of you often. She did. Oh yes. She followed your career closely. She was very proud. He handed her a thick envelope. These are the initial documents regarding her estate. The full reading will be in 30 days, per her wishes. But I wanted you to have this now. Inside was a single key and a note in Lorraine's elegant handwriting. For Carene. The brownstone. Everything in it. Guard it well. I don't understand, Carene said. What brownstone? Richard smiled. 321 West 138th Street. Your grandmother's home. She left it to you along with its contents. I encourage you to visit soon. It's quite well, you'll see. Before Carene could ask more, someone tapped her shoulder. A process server. Carene Williams? You've been served. Divorce papers. At her grandmother's funeral. Dominic couldn't even wait one more day. Richard Foster's expression hardened. Your husband. Soon-to-be ex-husband. I see. Ms. Williams, I strongly suggest you don't sign anything until after the full estate reading. 30 days. Can you wait 30 days? Why? Trust me on this. That night, Carene took the subway to Harlem. The brownstone was beautiful. A 4-story gem tucked on a tree-lined street. The key turned smoothly in the lock. Inside, she gasped. The walls were covered in art. Not prints. Originals. A Basquiat in the entryway. 3 Romari Bearden collages in the living room. An entire wall of Jacob Lawrence's Migration series. Faith Ringgold story quilts. Kara Walker silhouettes. Elizabeth Catlett sculptures. Carene moved through the rooms in a daze. This wasn't just a collection. This was a museum. This was history. This was impossible. In the study she found letters. Hundreds of them. Correspondences between Lorraine and artists spanning 6 decades. Purchase receipts. Certificates of authenticity. And a journal. Carene opened it to the first page. Her grandmother's handwriting. This collection is not about money. It's about legacy. It's about preserving our stories when the world tried to erase them. Whoever inherits this must understand. You are not just a collector. You are a guardian. She flipped to the last entry dated 1 week before Lorraine died. Carene will understand. She has her mother's heart and her father's strength. The divorce will hurt her. Dominic will break her heart. But she'll rise. They always underestimate our women. Let them. Carene sat on the floor and cried for the first time since Dubai. Great heaving sobs that shook her whole body. For her grandmother. For her marriage. For the baby growing inside her that would never know its father. For everything lost and everything yet to come. Her phone rang. Dominic. She almost didn't answer. What? Did you sign the papers? I was at my grandmother's funeral today. Silence. Then I didn't know. I'm sorry. Are you? Carene, don't make this harder than it needs to be. Sign the papers. The settlement is generous. $50,000. That's more than fair. She looked around at the artwork surrounding her. Millions of dollars worth. Hundreds of millions probably. And he was offering her $50,000 like it was a fortune. I'll think about it. What's there to think about? Unless you're trying to squeeze more money out of me. The old Carene would have cried. Would have begged him to reconsider. The new Carene standing in her grandmother's brownstone, surrounded by priceless art and infinite possibility, felt something else. Clarity. Goodbye, Dominic. She hung up before he could respond. If you're loving this story so far, drop a comment and tell me what you think Carene should do next. And don't forget to like this video. The next morning, Carene met with Richard Foster in his office. He smiled when she walked in. You've seen the collection. I have questions. I imagine you do. Your grandmother's estate is valued at approximately $847 million. The brownstone, the art, some additional investments. Carene sat down before her legs gave out. I'm sorry, how much? $847 million. Give or take. Some pieces haven't been appraised in decades. Could be worth more. This isn't real. It's very real. But there are conditions. Your grandmother was specific. You must keep the collection private for 6 months. No sales, no publicity. At the end of 6 months, you must open a public gallery in Harlem, showcasing at least 60% of the collection. If you fail to meet these conditions, everything goes to the studio museum. Why 6 months? Richard leaned back. Your grandmother believed you needed time to understand what you're inheriting. This isn't just money, Carene. It's responsibility. It's legacy. She wanted you to sit with it. Live with it. Let it transform you. I'm pregnant, Carene blurted out. I'm broke, pregnant, getting divorced, and now I'm secretly a millionaire. This is insane. Congratulations on the baby. As for the rest, your grandmother anticipated this might be overwhelming. She left you another letter. He handed her an envelope. Don't open it until you're home. Back at the brownstone, Carene made tea and sat in the study. The letter was thick. She opened it carefully. My darling Carene, if you're reading this, I'm gone. Good. I was tired anyway. Now listen carefully. You're about to go through hell. That man you married, he's going to leave you. He's going to make you feel small. Let him. Men like Dominic need to believe they're the smartest person in the room. Right now, let him believe that. You're going to want to tell him about the money. Don't. You're going to want to flaunt it. Don't. Secrecy is power. For 6 months, you're going to rebuild yourself in silence. Get healthy. Prepare for the baby. Study this collection. Learn its worth. Learn your worth. When you emerge, you won't be the broken girl he divorced. You'll be a queen. And he'll know he made the biggest mistake of his life. Be patient. Be strategic. Be ruthless when necessary. I love you. I'm proud of you. Now go show the world what Williams women are made of. Carene pressed the letter to her chest. Okay, Grandma. I'll try. The next 6 weeks were strange. Carene lived in the brownstone, spending her days studying the collection, reading art history, taking prenatal vitamins, and building a plan. She wore her old clothes, took the subway, let everyone believe she was barely surviving on Dominic's $50,000 settlement, which she hadn't touched. She'd see articles about Dominic and Sienna, the power couple of New York luxury hospitality. Sinclair Hospitality Group was expanding. New hotels in Paris and Tokyo. They looked perfect together at charity galas and restaurant openings. It should have hurt more. But surrounded by her grandmother's legacy, Carene found she cared less each day. Richard Foster called in week 7. There's someone trying to buy the brownstone. They've offered $3 million. Tell them no. The offer came from Park Luxury Holdings. That's Sienna Park's family company. Carene's blood went cold. How did she even know about it? Public records. The property transferred to your name after probate. She's been acquiring property in that neighborhood. Wants to build a boutique hotel. Over my dead body. That's the spirit. But Carene, be careful. The Parks are powerful. They don't like being told no. 2 days later, Sienna herself showed up at the brownstone. Carene answered the door in leggings and an oversized sweater, her small baby bump just barely visible. Sienna's eyes went straight to it. Oh, Dominic didn't mention you were pregnant. Dominic doesn't know. I see. Sienna's smile was sharp. Can I come in? Against her better judgment, Carene let her in. But only to the entryway. She didn't want this woman seeing the collection. Charming place, Sienna said, glancing around. Very historic. My family wants to preserve buildings like this. Turn them into luxury experiences. We're prepared to offer you $5 million. Not interested. $7 million. Final offer. Not for sale. Sienna's mask cracked slightly. Don't be stupid. You're broke. Dominic told me about your failed gallery, your debt. $7 million could change your life. My life is already changed. Because of that? Sienna gestured to Carene's stomach. A baby won't make Dominic love you. He doesn't want children. He never did. You're trapping yourself. Carene stepped closer. Get out of my house. You're making a mistake. The only mistake I made was not recognizing vultures sooner. Leave. Now. After Sienna left, Carene called Richard Foster. How fast can we move up the gallery timeline? Eager. They're circling. I need to establish this place as protected cultural property. What do I need to do? Let me make some calls. Within 2 weeks, Richard had connected Carene with curators, architects, and nonprofit lawyers. The brownstone would become the Williams-Lorraine Legacy Gallery, a public trust. Untouchable by developers. Carene threw herself into the work. Morning sickness didn't stop her. Exhaustion didn't stop her. She met with architects about converting the top floor into a small apartment for her and the baby. She cataloged every piece in the collection. She reached out to art historians, many who'd known her grandmother. One of them, Dr. Patricia Moore, gasped when she saw the collection. Carene, do you understand what you have here? This Basquiat alone is worth $30 million. The Lawrence series complete like this? Priceless. Your grandmother had pieces people thought were lost or destroyed. She never sold anything? Never. She believed black art belonged in black hands, preserving black stories. She was offered fortunes over the years. Always refused. Why didn't anyone know about this? Your grandmother was private. She loaned pieces anonymously to museums sometimes, but always under conditions of anonymity. She didn't want fame. She wanted preservation. Carene touched the Basquiat gently. I'm going to honor that. You're pregnant, Dr. Moore observed. 14 weeks now. The father. Not in the picture. Dr. Moore squeezed her hand. Your grandmother raised your mother alone. You come from a line of strong women. You'll be fine. But at night, alone in the brownstone, Carene wasn't sure. She missed Dominic. Hated that she missed him. Hated that she still loved him despite everything. Her hand would rest on her growing belly, and she'd whisper to the baby, "It's just us. But we're going to be okay. Better than okay." In week 16, Carene went for an ultrasound. Routine checkup. She was alone as usual. The technician smiled. Want to know the sex? Yes. It's a girl. Tears pricked Carene's eyes. A daughter. She was having a daughter. She thought of her grandmother, her mother, the generations of Williams women who'd survived and thrived. A girl, she whispered. Perfect. As she left the clinic, she nearly collided with someone. She looked up. Dominic. They froze. His eyes dropped to her stomach, now unmistakably round. His face went white. Carene. Dominic. You're pregnant. Observant. Is it mine? The question felt like a slap. Who else would it be? How far along? 18 weeks. She watched him do the math. Dubai was 5 months ago. The timing was right. His jaw clenched. Why didn't you tell me? You made it very clear you didn't want children. You called them distractions, remember? Obstacles to success. Why would I tell you? Because it's my child. Is it? You sure seem done with me. A nurse approached them. Ms. Williams? You forgot your ultrasound photos. The nurse handed her a small envelope. Dominic stared at it like it might explode. It's a girl, Carene said quietly. In case you were wondering. She walked away, leaving him standing there and didn't look back. That night, Dominic called 17 times. She ignored every call. Finally, he texted. We need to talk. Please. She replied. Sign the divorce papers. You'll never hear from me again. I'm not signing anything until we talk about the baby. There's nothing to talk about. I don't need anything from you. Carene, please. She turned off her phone. Richard Foster called the next morning from his office line. Dominic Sinclair's lawyer contacted me. He wants a paternity test and custody discussions. Of course he does. Do you want to engage? Carene looked around the brownstone, at the empire she was building in secret. Tell him I'll agree to a paternity test after the baby is born. Until then he can wait. He won't like that. I don't care what he likes anymore. But Dominic didn't wait. He started showing up. At the brownstone. At her prenatal appointments. Always with the same speech. I want to be involved. I want to support you. Please, Carene. Why? She asked during one ambush at her OB's office. You have Sienna. You have your perfect life. Why do you care about this baby? Because it's mine. It's mine too. And I'm doing fine on my own. You're living in that old brownstone with no income. How is that fine? She smiled. I'm managing. Let me help. Financially, at least. I don't need your money, Dominic. Everyone needs money. Not everyone. He looked frustrated. Confused. She loved it. For the first time in their entire relationship, she had power he couldn't understand. Information he didn't have. It was intoxicating. Sienna wasn't happy about Dominic's sudden interest in his unborn child. Carene knew because she saw the tabloids. Trouble in Paradise? Sinclair and Park's engagement in question. Mystery baby mama emerges. The headlines were tacky, but Carene didn't care. At 24 weeks pregnant, Carene held a private meeting with major donors and art institutions. The Williams-Lorraine Legacy Gallery was officially announced. A nonprofit dedicated to preserving and showcasing African American art. Opening in 3 months. The art world exploded. Where had this collection come from? How had Carene Williams amassed such treasures in secret? Who was Carene Williams? Dominic called immediately. I just saw the news. You opened a gallery. I'm opening one, yes. How? Where did you get the funding? That's none of your business. Carene, talk to me. If you came into money, that affects our divorce settlement. I need to know. Our divorce settlement was $50,000. I'm not asking for a penny more. What I have is mine. What do you have? Wouldn't you like to know? She hung up. The rumors started immediately. Carene Williams, mysterious art heiress. Some said she'd married and divorced a secret billionaire. Others claimed she'd won the lottery. A few got close to the truth, mentioning her grandmother, but no one knew the full scope. Sienna tried to buy the brownstone again. $10 million this time. When Carene refused, Sienna's family company tried to pressure the city to condemn the building for code violations. Richard Foster shut that down with a team of lawyers, and a lot of bad publicity for Park Luxury Holdings. They're getting desperate, Richard said. Sienna Park wants that property badly. Why? Your grandmother bought it from Sienna's great-grandfather in 1962. He tried to buy it back multiple times over the years. It's a pride thing for their family. They don't like losing. Good, Carene said. Let them stay mad. At 30 weeks pregnant, Carene attended the soft opening of the gallery. Invitation only. Curators, art historians, journalists. She wore a custom maternity gown, deep purple, her baby bump proudly displayed. She looked like royalty. Dominic wasn't invited, but he came anyway. Security tried to stop him at the door. I'm her husband, he said. Ex-husband, Carene corrected, approaching. But it's fine. Let him in. Dominic stared at the gallery in shock. The Basquiat in the entrance. The Lawrence series in the main hall. The beard and collages, the ringgold quilts, the sculptures, the photographs. Millions upon millions of dollars of art, displayed with museum-quality lighting and care. "What is this?" he whispered. "My inheritance. Your grandmother left you all this?" "She did. Why didn't you tell me?" "You never asked. You assumed I was broke and pathetic. You offered me $50,000 like it was charity. You never once considered I might have something of value beyond what you could give me." Dominic's face crumbled. "Carene, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." "For what? For divorcing me when I lost everything? For humiliating me in Dubai? For handing me $500 like I was a beggar? Be specific." "All of it. Everything. I was cruel. I was wrong." "Yes, you were." "Can we start over?" Carene laughed. Actually laughed. "Start over? Dominic, I'm 7 months pregnant with your daughter. I'm opening a multimillion-dollar gallery. I've moved on. You still love me. I know you do. Love isn't enough. You taught me that." Sienna appeared then, her arm looping through Dominic's possessively. "Darling, there you are." "Oh, Carene. Congratulations on your little gallery. Very quaint." "Thank you, Sienna. How's the hotel business? I heard Park Luxury is having some trouble with investors." Sienna's smile faltered. "Temporary setbacks." "Of course." Carene turned to Dominic. "You two make a lovely couple. Perfect, really. Both so focused on winning, on being the best. I hope you'll be very happy." She walked away, feeling their eyes on her back. She was done. Completely done. And it felt like freedom. The gallery's official opening was scheduled for 3 weeks later. But Carene went into labor 2 weeks early. 38 weeks. Close enough. She called Dr. Moore instead of Dominic. Called Richard Foster. Called her small circle of friends she'd made over the past months. She did not call Dominic. But somehow he found out. He burst into her hospital room 8 hours into labor, wild-eyed and frantic. "Why didn't you call me? I didn't think you'd care." "She's my daughter." "She's my daughter," Carene corrected through a contraction. "You're just the sperm donor." "Don't say that." "Get out, Dominic. You're not welcome here." "I'm not leaving." Dr. Moore intervened. "Mr. Sinclair, if the mother doesn't want you here, you need to go." "Please," Dominic said, and his voice cracked. "Please, Carene. Let me stay. I know I don't deserve it. I know I've been terrible. But please. She's my daughter too." Carene looked at him, really looked at him. He'd lost weight. Had circles under his eyes. Looked miserable despite his expensive suit and perfect haircut. "Fine. But you stand in the corner and you don't say a word." He nodded and retreated to the corner like a scolded child. 8 hours later at 4:47 a.m., Carene gave birth to a 7-pound, 4-ounce baby girl. She had Dominic's dark eyes and Carene's full lips. She was perfect. The nurse placed her on Carene's chest. "She's beautiful. Does she have a name?" "Lorraine," Carene whispered. "After her great-grandmother." Dominic was crying. Actual tears streaming down his face. "Can I hold her?" Carene hesitated, then nodded. The nurse transferred baby Lorraine to Dominic's arms. He looked down at his daughter with such wonder, such love, that Carene's heart cracked open despite herself. "She's perfect," he whispered. "She's absolutely perfect." "Yes, she is." "Carene, I'm sorry. For everything. I'm so sorry. I love you. I never stopped loving you. I was a fool." "You were. Can you forgive me?" "I don't know. Maybe. Someday. That's more than I deserve." Sienna appeared in the doorway then, holding a bouquet of flowers. She froze when she saw Dominic holding the baby. "Dom? What are you doing?" "Meeting my daughter." "You're what?" "I have a daughter, Sienna. Her name is Lorraine." Sienna's face went pale then red. "You said you didn't want children. You said they were distractions." "I was wrong. We're engaged." "No, we're not. Not anymore." "I'm sorry, Sienna, but this is what matters." He looked at baby Lorraine, then at Carene. "This is everything." Sienna threw the flowers on the floor and stormed out. It should have been dramatic, but honestly, Carene was too tired to care. "Dominic," she said. "I need sleep. Come back tomorrow." "Can I stay?" "No. Please." She sighed. Fine. But you're sleeping in that chair, and if you snore, I'm kicking you out. He smiled, the first genuine smile she'd seen from him in months. Deal. Over the next few days, Dominic barely left the hospital. He changed diapers, brought Carene food, held Lorraine while Carene slept. He was attentive and gentle and everything she'd once dreamed he could be. Richard Foster visited on day 3. The gallery opening is in 2 weeks. Are you still planning to attend? With a 2-week-old baby? We can postpone. Carene looked at baby Lorraine sleeping in her bassinet. No. We're doing this. My grandmother didn't wait for perfect timing. Neither will I. The Williams-Lorraine Legacy Gallery opened to massive acclaim. Carene stood at the entrance, Lorraine in a sling against her chest, and welcomed hundreds of guests. Art collectors, celebrities, politicians, community members. Everyone wanted to see the secret collection. Dominic stood beside her, not as her husband but as her co-parent. His hotel empire was crumbling. Park Luxury Holdings had launched a hostile takeover after Sienna's humiliation. He'd lost 3 properties already. The press was brutal. Fallen empire. Dominic Sinclair's spectacular collapse. But he didn't seem to care. He was too busy staring at his daughter. She has your nose, he said. She has your stubborn chin. Carene, I've been thinking. Dangerous. I want to invest in the gallery. Be a patron. Support what you're building here. I don't need your money, Dominic. I have $847 million. Remember? He winced. I know. But I want to be part of this. Part of her legacy. Part of your life if you'll let me. Why should I? Because I love you. Because I'm sorry. Because I want to spend the rest of my life proving I can be the man you deserve. Carene looked around the gallery. At the art her grandmother had spent a lifetime collecting. At the community gathering to celebrate Black excellence. At her daughter, perfect and tiny, sleeping against her chest. At Dominic, broken and humbled and finally seeing her as an equal. I'm not promising anything, she said. You hurt me. Badly. I know. If you want to be in Lorraine's life, you have to earn it. Every single day. I will. And if you ever make me feel small again, I will make your current business problems look like a vacation. He smiled. Understood. Good. She handed him the baby. Hold your daughter while I give the opening speech. Carene stepped up to the microphone. The crowd quieted. She looked out at the sea of faces, then down at the speech she'd prepared. She crumpled it up. My grandmother, Carene Williams, spent 60 years building this collection in secret, she began. She believed art wasn't about money or status. It was about legacy. About preserving our stories when the world tried to erase them. 6 months ago I was broke, heartbroken and lost. I inherited this collection and I inherited a responsibility. To honor her vision. To share these treasures with the world. To show that our stories, our art, our legacy is priceless. This gallery is just the beginning. Thank you for being here. The applause was deafening. Dominic was crying again, baby Lorraine still asleep in his arms. Richard Foster was beaming. Dr. Moore was wiping tears. After the speeches, after the tours, after the champagne and congratulations, Carene found herself alone in the gallery's main hall. Just her and the Basquiat her grandmother had bought in 1982 for $1,500, now worth $30 million. Dominic approached carefully. She's asleep in the office. Richard's watching her. Thank you. Carene, I know this doesn't fix anything, but I need you to know. When I handed you that $500 in Dubai, when I told you to sign the papers, that was the biggest mistake of my life. You were never the problem. I was. My fear, my pride, my stupidity. I know. You do. Dominic, I knew you loved me even when you were being cruel. That's what made it hurt so much. But I also knew I deserved better. My grandmother taught me that. This collection taught me that. Our daughter taught me that. Do I still have a chance? Carene looked at him. Really looked at him. Maybe. But not today. Today we're co-parents. Tomorrow we'll see. I'll wait. However long it takes. Good. Because I'm worth waiting for. You are. You always were. Make sure to subscribe if you want more stories like this. Drop a comment telling me what you think Carene should do about Dominic. And hit that like button if you love a good comeback story. 3 months later, the gallery was thriving. Carene had hired a full staff, started educational programs for local kids, and was already planning an expansion. Baby Lorraine was growing fast, already smiling and cooing. Dominic had moved into a modest apartment nearby, not the penthouse he'd once lived in. His hotel empire was mostly gone. Park Luxury Holdings had one. He kept 2 properties and his dignity. He visited every day, bringing coffee for Carene and toys for Lorraine. He changed diapers without complaint, attended pediatrician appointments, read parenting books, took late-night feeding shifts when he could. Slowly, carefully, Carene felt her walls coming down. Not all the way, but enough. One evening, as they sat in the gallery after hours, Lorraine asleep between them, Dominic spoke. I signed my last property over today. Sinclair Hospitality Group is officially defunct. I'm sorry. I'm not. I built that company top row something. To my father, to myself, to the world. I thought success meant being the biggest, the richest, the best. But sitting here watching our daughter sleep, I realize I had it all wrong. This is success. This is everything. Dominic, I'm not asking you to take me back. I'm just saying losing everything taught me what matters. Carene reached over and took his hand. My grandmother used to say, sometimes you have to lose yourself to find yourself. She was a wise woman. She was. And she was right about you, by the way. She said you had ice in your veins. But she also said ice melts. Has it? It's melting. He squeezed her hand. That's all I can ask for. 6 months after the gallery opened, Carene and Dominic went on their first date since the divorce. Nothing fancy. Pizza in Brooklyn. A walk through Prospect Park. Lorraine and her stroller between them. This is nice, Dominic said. It is. Better than Dubai. Much better. Carene, I want to ask you something, but I'm terrified. Ask. Can we try again? Not marriage, not yet. Just us. Dating. Figuring this out. I know I don't deserve another chance, but... She kissed him. Right there in the park, in front of joggers and dog walkers and tourists. She kissed him like she'd wanted to for months. When they broke apart, he was smiling. Is that a yes? That's a maybe. A very strong maybe. I'll take it. They walked home as the sun set, their daughter between them, their future uncertain but full of possibility. Carene thought of her grandmother, of the legacy she'd inherited, of the woman she'd become. From broken to this. To power, to peace, to a second chance at love on her terms. She looked at Dominic. You know I'm worth $847 million, right? You sure you can handle dating a woman richer than you? He laughed. I think I can manage. Good. Because I'm never letting anyone make me feel small again. You were never small, Carene. I was just too blind to see how magnificent you were. You're learning. I'm trying. And in that moment, walking through Brooklyn with her daughter, and the man she'd never stopped loving, Carene Williams knew she'd won. Not because of the money or the gallery or the revenge, but because she'd found herself. And that was worth more than any inheritance. If this story inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Share it with someone who needs to hear that it's never too late for a comeback. Comment below and tell me your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and remember, you're worth more than anyone who underestimated you ever imagined.